So on the eve of the Stanley Cup playoffs, July 31st, did you ever think you'd see anything like it? Probably not, and hopefully we never see it again, but we're lucky to see it at all, right?
Yep.
Everything's
Agreed.
all good. Everyone's through their exhibition games, no major injuries, no positive tests. So I think we're going to get there, and I think we're going to hopefully award a Stanley Cup winner. And we were thinking about this earlier today because there's so many different storylines you can lean towards, right? Like you can make a compelling case for any team winning the Cup,
right,
and why that would be a cool story or a unique story. But we're going to try to narrow it down to 3 each. And we might have some overlapping choices here.
Right.
You can get creative with this any possible way you want to look at it. But our top 3 most compelling Cup winners. So we're looking into the future a couple of months. All right, who wants to kick the party off?
Want me
here?
to kick the party off?
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
generalize.
Are you doing? Is he doing all 3 though? Are you doing all 3? Or are you
Yeah,
doing?
you can do all 3. We'll
Real
go around the
thoughtful.
table.
3.
We'll go
All
all
right.
the noodles, then I'll go last.
Now, my number 1, since 1993, a Canadian team. It's kind of general, but I'm going a Canadian team. Like
Yep.
to have a Canadian team actually do this. I'm getting a little sick of our guys going south of the border for the Stanley Cup final, and it's just not a Canadian team. Can it happen? Teams like Edmonton. Edmonton is fascinating, although their decor is a little bit suspect. With McDavid and Draisaitl, if you're looking for guys to get on heaters to get this thing done, they can do it as well as anybody in the NHL. You look at Toronto, it's fascinating. Can their skill guys go on heaters? I got the Nashville Predators in there, too. They are a team where everyone has counted their window as being closed. If they could somehow get going and Pekka Rinne could get cooking, they were in the finals a few years back against Pittsburgh. Can they come back? They would be like a really good team. That's a Cinderella story.
Right.
And I got the St. Louis Blues. They're, can they go back to back? I think they're getting Tarasenko back healthy. They're a team that is designed to win. Since Berube took over, they seem to have this down. They're a winning factory right now. They know how to get it done. If Binnington can be hot again, who knows if they can repeat? That's my 3-pack.
Yeah, I like it. I like St. Louis based on the comparing and contrasting of the pursuit, right? Like last year, you're at home and there's thousands of people, and you're in St. Louis, and now you're in a bubble. To win back to back in such different capacities would be incredibly compelling.
Yeah, impressive list. I went more. I went more specialized. So
Okay. All right.
I'm going to start at 3.
Yeah.
I agree. As much as I agree with the Canadian teams, I'll go with the Edmonton Oilers. And the reason being is look at where they were a year ago, Chiarelli. And, we talked in the show, McDavid is probably going to want out. It seemed like a tire fire. It really did.
Yep.
And in 1 year, Ken Holland's come in and stabilized that organization. He's made some fantastic trades, a couple of savvy moves. They developed some young guys have stepped in. Like Edmonton that's what would be compelling for me, just because of where they were a year ago.
And you're from there.
Well, no, I don't care. Like whether they win or
City of
lose, you guys get
Put it back on the board. Put it back on the board.
All right. Number 2, Vegas. Because all they do is win, and Hayes' head would explode.
Yes, it certainly would.
You go to the finals, and then they probably, should have won against San Jose. To me, it's just all they do is win.
Yeah, that would be. It would be like a scene from the movie Saw at my house. I'd be laying on the ground. I'd be chained.
And you could do anything you wanted because Jiffy would come and fix it.
They would.
Yeah.
Jiffy would find a way to get me out of that precarious position.
Honestly,
right.
I watched Vegas play last night. I'm like, they're a really good team.
They're so good.
You
they're
forget
loaded.
about them.
And they're a veteran team, right? They're new in the league, yet they're a vet team.
Yeah, so that one would be compelling's the wrong word, but it would be frustrating.
Right.
And
Yeah.
number 1 is this is another head exploding one. The Rangers, Jim Dolan getting a Stanley Cup.
That's right. Yeah, I know it would be.
Because when you think about it, the Rangers weren't supposed to be in the playoffs. They sent out a letter not that long ago rebuilding. They go and sign the bread man. They've got a star in Shesterkin and net. They've got 2 really good young defensemen. Like they're kind of in that rebuild. You land Zibanejad in a trade. Like that team is a pretty good team. I don't see them winning the cup, but that would be a compelling story.
It would
just
be.
Based on who was it that the Knicks are hiring a new coach, and they're saying,
Yeah,
it's
Tom
a winning,
Thibodeau.
yeah, it's a winning tradition here, and to add, if they got a Stanley Cup, Jim Dolan would get a Stanley Cup.
That is scary to think of, that Jim Dolan could be a winner. He could be considered a winner. I will say about the Thibodeau comment, I don't know if he was speaking in general about the Knicks. If he was, then he's just lying.
Right.
They're not associated with winning at all. But the city of New York is. I mean, the Yankees win all the time. The Giants have won 2 Super Bowls in the last 15 years. You can't deny that the city of New York wins or
You
are
just
winners.
can't lump the Knicks into that.
Just the Knicks are not included. Yeah, you cannot include
Right.
the Knicks. Okay, I like it. Very compelling. We have some overlapping, but for different reasons.
Okay.
So I'll get to my 3. Starting at 3, I will say a 12th place team. So in other words, Chicago or Montreal. Neither team should be there. They don't deserve to be there. They would not have been there if it was a conventional 82-game season. And they're 2 massive markets, original 6 teams. So the idea of one of them going on a run, because both of them are not. I don't think either of them are getting out of the first round, but it's not like they're going to meet in the Cup final, Chicago and Montreal. It could get crazy. It's not going to get that crazy. But the idea that storyline keeps coming up, they shouldn't have even been there. They're a massive marketplace. They were dead in the water. And then somehow, in almost the craziest form of, I don't know if it's irony or whatever, COVID, in a way, saved their season because it allowed them to get into the playoff run. And if they go on a run, I think it would speak for itself. I lumped the New York teams in because of COVID in many ways. New York City has been the epicenter of COVID, in North America and in the States. So if you get the Rangers or the Islanders going on a run, it's also the biggest market down in the States. And I think it's important that the NHL finds a way to avoid a smaller market, lesser team to keep the hype alive. The NBA is going to have it. One of the LA teams is getting there. And either LeBron or Kawhi is in the NBA Finals. You can bank on it. You just know it. So the NBA is going to have it. I do think it would be in the best interest of the NHL and anyone talking about this sport, ourselves included, in terms of compelling storylines, if you got a major market or a team loaded with superstars that get all the way to the Cup final. I think this year more than ever, I think it would be great for the league and the marketing and keeping the life alive and the buzz alive. And with that in mind, this is pretty shocking. I think the 3 of us, for the first time ever, have this team in our top 3. I have Edmonton at number 1. But I have Edmonton at number 1 for a couple of different reasons. One, what I just said, a carryover from what I just said. McDavid going on a Cup run would be, I think, the best thing this league could ask for.
In Edmonton.
And in Edmonton, the only team that could have a buzz in the city. And that's exactly what you'd get. The Cup final is going to be in Edmonton. If the Oilers are in it, you'd actually have life in the city. I don't know what Edmonton's going to be like if it's Washington, Vegas in a Cup final. I think there'll be some buzz. There probably would be, but you can't go into the building. But if the Oilers are in that Cup final and they're playing in their building and they're in town, then you would somehow, I feel like there would be energy. You'd pick up on it. If the COVID numbers keep dropping out there, all of a sudden you'd have street parties, which I don't know if
how would that shake down? Because let's put the Leafs in that scenario too. Say the Leafs are in, have made it deep into the playoffs. Nobody's going down to Scotiabank.
Yeah, but I think they would zoom right to stage 7 of the.
That's what I'm saying.
They would just you couldn't stop it. It would be.
I was thinking about that today, and Andy brought that up to me on the lunch. Is they're potentially having drive-in viewing parties, but different types of thought process to try and at least allow fans some form of an experience other than just sitting on your couch.
I think the drive-through possibility has been floated out. That could happen, but anything that would involve 2 people standing beside each other, the teams in the NHL want nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
because you don't want to be liable. You don't want to be advocating for people, coming together in crowds. Not right now. I mean, maybe we're in a better situation a month and a half from now, or 2 months from now. Maybe, knock on wood. But that's why I think Edmonton, because they're the exclusive home of the Stanley Cup final, right? The conference final and the Cup final will be played in Edmonton. It's the only possible team that could have a home field advantage or home ice advantage, even though there won't be fans in the building for it. And I think the McDavid angle goes a long way for me. I think more so than ever, you could really use your superstar going on a run because it would make it that much more electric and just almost focused on one guy. As much as Draisaitl would play a role,
Right.
Koskinen would play a role. But if it's McDavid's pursuit, the young superstar, the flag bearer of this league, and likely going to hold on to that position for the next 10 or 12 years, chasing his first cup and playing every other night, that's as good as it gets, I think, for storytellers.